Hello to you, and welcome to Comics in Closets with Nathan. I am your host, Nathan Guerra. This is the show where we review/discuss comic books from my ever-growing collection of digital and physical comic books. As this is the first pilot premiere ever episode of this show, I'll let you know a little bit of what we have in store coming up. We will be discussing comics that are classic, controversial, politically relevant, video game inspired, film inspired, and everything that is in between. And things that are outliers as well. And for the first episode ever, what classic comic book did I choose? I actually went with America's favorite wall-crawling, web-slinging superhero of the future. That's right, I went with issue number 1 of Spider-Man 2099. We can just put up like a little graphic like right out here, right about now. See? There we go. Hold. Good. All right, as you can tell, it has one of those sort of foil covers on it, shiny and red, really catches my eye. I think that explains why I'm constantly chasing fire trucks. Anyway, Spider-Man 2099 comes to us from the year 1997. So travel with me back in time, if you will, to 1997, so that we can then travel forward 102 years to 2099 with our hero, Miguel O'Hara. The name is confusing. I like the idea that in the future we're all mating with each other and making babies that have all sorts of crazy names, like Miguel O'Hara. But it just doesn't work for me. But you know what? Mad props to anybody who writes a future anything, film, video game, comic book. It's really hard to think about how people will be acting, dressing, talking. All these things can lend itself to creating something sort of cartoonish. So creating a sort of semi-realistic world in which we can have this superhero, it's a tough, tall order. Like with the language, I appreciate people who change the slang. As we all know, modern slang is constantly evolving. As someone who doesn't know what a fleek is, or who uses the word lit to describe light in past tense, I don't know why we wouldn't constantly be changing words. When it comes to 2099, they use what the shock. I kind of like it. It's right up there with what the frack, if you ask me. Now, this does kind of suggest that we won't have words like and in the future. That was weird. Anyway, while this does suggest that we won't have words like and why is that happening? Who's... All right, fine. I guess I just won't. All right, cool, whatever. Anyway, I like the slang. I think it was well done. A problem, though, with a lot of future things is incorporating flying cars. That's not gonna happen. Just being good at driving is hard enough as it is. The idea that everyone is then going to take the time to get a pilot's license in the future just seems a bit extreme. And how do lanes work? Some of the things that it tackles pretty well, though, as far as the future is concerned. Corporations taking over the world and using their greed and ever-growing reach to manipulate their employees and so on and so forth. That's pretty par for the course, it feels like. There's a pretty good commentary in there when someone says, I forget the name of the Chemtex, maybe is the name of the company. And I think one of the retorts is someone says, the Chemtex really wants us to be done with this project. And our spider hero says, well, Chemtech is a company, and companies can't have desires. Desire is a human thing. That's pretty prescient for something that was written before corporations were officially people as far as the law is concerned. There's also a lot of smart and clever quips and retorts, as you are wont to want from your Spider-Man. Let's talk about future cops as well. Apparently very authoritarian, shoot you on sight types of people. Very scary stuff. Again, very prescient stuff too. Overall, I think it's a really good comic book. There's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of there, if you will. And I can't wait for Beyond Animated, a live-action feature film of Spider-Man 2099. I think a future Spider-Man is a really interesting story, and I think if done well and handled well, it could be told very interestingly and amazingly. So, Spider-Man 2099, overall, 2 thumbs way, way up from this guy. I highly recommend it. If you can't get it physically and enjoy the shiny red foil cover, I recommend downloading it digitally and getting hooked by it. I think it's pretty great for what it is, and who knows, we may discuss more Spider-Man 2099's, Spider-Man's 2099, Spider-Man 2099. We'll be discussing more of these in the future, maybe. Until next time, this has been Comics in Closets with Nathan. I was your host, Nathan Guerra, and remember, if we don't keep buying them, they won't keep making them.